Good evening. Police investigating the fatal shooting of a man outside an Edinburgh pub on Hogmanay say they believe it was an isolated and targeted attack. Speaking at a news conference this afternoon, detectives leading the investigation gave more details of the incident, in which another man was also seriously injured, and they appealed for help finding the driver of a red car which was involved in the shooting. This report from Richard Forbes contains flash photography.
A crime scene cordoned off as officers continue to search for clues. It was here in Granton on Hogmanay that a 38-year-old man was killed. Police received calls at 10 to midnight saying that 2 people had been injured in a shooting outside the Anchor Inn pub on West Granton Road. The emergency services arrived and the 2 men were taken to hospital. One of them died. He's been named locally as Mark Webley. The other man, a 39-year-old, remains in a serious but stable condition. This afternoon, the officers in charge held a press conference to tackle the unease among those living in Granton.
We completely understand local community concern following this shocking incident and would like to reassure members of the public that this is believed to have been an isolated, targeted attack. Police Scotland takes incidents of this nature extremely seriously. This type of reckless criminality will not be tolerated, and we will do everything in our power to bring the perpetrators to justice.
Detectives also appealed for help in tracking down the gunman's car.
A red Hyundai Tucson pulled up beside 2 men in West Granton Road. A man left the car and discharged the firearm before getting back in. We are appealing for any information or footage of the suspect vehicle and its movements before and after the incident. If you saw this vehicle in the surrounding area late on Sunday evening, we would like to hear from you.
For now, the roads where the killing took place remain closed as the investigation continues. Richard Forbes, reporting Scotland.
A man has been arrested in connection with the death of a woman in North Berwick in East Lothian. Emergency services were called yesterday morning to a property in Craigleith Avenue, where a 33-year-old woman was pronounced dead at the scene. In a statement, Police Scotland said a 37-year-old man had been arrested and inquiries were continuing. A female pedestrian's been seriously injured in a hit-and-run involving a stolen motorbike in Glasgow on Hogmanay. The 68-year-old was crossing Moss Park Drive on Sunday night at around 8 p.m. when she was struck by a grey Yamaha. She was taken to the city's Queen Elizabeth University Hospital, where her condition is described as serious but stable. Police say the bike was stolen from an address in Edinburgh and have appealed for witnesses. A drink driver who crashed his car on the M8 in Glasgow was caught by police after fleeing the scene wearing only one shoe. Police said the man was found at nearby shops wearing a single trainer that matched one left behind in the vehicle. No one else was injured in the incident, which happened near Shield Hall on Hogmanay. The driver spent the New Year in jail and was released pending a court appearance. One of Scotland's leading experts in menopause says greater awareness is needed amongst healthcare professionals and women to recognise symptoms. Dr Heather Curry believes that despite there being a lot of information available, people often don't have the time or know where to access it. Suzanne Allen reports.
Joan can now make a cup of tea. There was a time when even that felt like an impossible task. Having come off the pill at 56, after decades of use, she thinks it plunged her straight into menopause.
I became so ill, I could hardly walk. I started suffering from panic attacks, anxiety, my hair was falling out, I wouldn't go out the door, I wouldn't even look out the blinds. It was horrendous.
Despite this, doctors kept refusing HRT. Joan says on the grounds there were no hot flushes. She feels people working in healthcare need better knowledge of menopause symptoms. A leading menopause expert and Scottish Government advisor says despite there being a lot of information available, people often don't have the time to access it or aren't aware it's there.
The ongoing education programmes hopefully will help raise awareness not only among women but also among healthcare professionals. There's huge problems with capacity within the NHS, and so it's difficult for people to have the time to actually keep up to date with everything.
And HRT is not the answer for everyone.
There has been a huge increase in the use of HRT in recent years, which is great. If it's given for an appropriate reason, it can, for some women, be life transforming. However, it's not needed for every woman.
The Royal College of GPs say menopause is a complex area of relative risks and benefits, which require careful exploration for every individual. Joan is now on HRT and feeling better.
In myself, I feel good. I'm not the person I was at all.
The Scottish Government told us it's commissioned NHS Education for Scotland to create a bespoke training package and framework focused on menopause and menstrual health for general practice and others working in primary care. Suzanne Allen reporting Scotland.
Well, 2024 promises to be a big year for sport at home and abroad. Thousands of Scots have already booked up for the Euros in Germany, and Paris plays host to the Olympics. Here's our sports news correspondent Chris McLaughlin with a look ahead to what we can expect.
After months of singing about it, this year Scotland fans will be coming down the road. If you're not going to the Euros in Germany in June, trust me, you'll know someone who is. From the 14th of June until the 14th of July, Europe's best players and thousands of supporters will convene for a festival of football in a country that knows how to put on a show.
I'm not sure Germany's ready for 5 million Scottish people to turn up, but it seems like that. It seems that everybody you speak to says that they're going to be in Germany, and I'm sure it won't be 5 million, but we'll certainly take a big crowd.
Later in July, Paris promises an Olympics like no other. The Seine will be the venue for an opening ceremony with a difference. The country is promising the biggest and best games yet. Numerous Scots are aiming to shine. If Tokyo is anything to go by, they could do just that.
It's just such a cool time to be part of the Scottish sport, and hopefully what we're doing is inspiring that next generation to keep the ball rolling.
Rolling into Glasgow a few months before the Olympics, the World Indoor Athletics. For 3 days at the start of March, some of the best on the planet will battle it out at the Emirates Arena. A huge event with huge names, right here in Scotland. The Six Nations, of course, will provide Scotland with another opportunity to make memories like those at Twickenham last year. And at Wimbledon, fitness permitting, Andy Murray will look to better his second-round exit from last year. But the sporting year will be dominated by a trip to Germany in June. Flights booked, tickets secured. The Tartan Army will be on the march once more. Chris McLaughlin, reporting Scotland.
That's all to come. And now Christine has the weather. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Laura. Thank you. Good evening to you. It's been an unsettled and changeable day of weather across our shores, courtesy of an area of low pressure anchored to the west of us. We've also had another more potent area of low pressure named Storm Henk, bringing very high winds and plenty of rain across much of England and Wales. This evening, for a time, we'll see some heavy pulses of rain drifting along eastern coasts through the Northern Isles overnight, turning to snow across Shetland at times and staying very windy across the Northern Isles too. Otherwise, some clear spells developing, some showers in the west, and for most, lows of around 4 to 7 Celsius. Tomorrow again, that very same area of low pressure anchored to the west of Scotland is going to maintain rather unsettled conditions. I think the rain, though, gradually becoming lighter and patchier across the Northern Isles, and later in the afternoon that wind will eventually ease. But a lot of cloud to come tomorrow, plenty of showers merging at times in places to give longer spells of rain. The very best of any breaks in the cloud destined to be across Dumfries and Galloway, parts of the borders, perhaps around the Fife area too. Temperature-wise, we'll peak around 8 or 9 Celsius. To tomorrow evening, those showers will continue to drift in, pushing their way eastwards, turning wintry over the hills and highest ground of the northeast at times. To Thursday, and low pressure continues to influence conditions anchored to the northwest of Scotland. Generally light winds, though, to come on Thursday. Some showers or longer spells of rain affecting the Northern Isles and northeastern coasts. And at least in the morning, I think other areas will see some showers at times too, gradually becoming confined to the coasts. with some brightness developing by afternoon, and Friday, things continuing to calm down. Just a few coastal showers, although some spells of sunshine at times too. That's the forecast. Laura.
Thank you, Kirsty. And finally, the first baby to be born in 2024 in Scotland has been revealed. Henry George Buchanan was born at NHS Fife Hospital 2 minutes into the new year. Welcome to the world, Henry. And that is it for now. I'll be back with the late news. Bye-bye.